Hi, I'm RL from A-Cube Piano Studio. In this video here, I'll be going through the Music Theory Practice Paper Grade 5 for ABRSM. The first three questions are questions on time signature. So in this question here, you're asked to select the time signature for the bar. If you take a look at this is likely to be a compound time because of how it is grouped. If you just look at this group, you'll notice that it is 1 quaver, 2 quavers, and 3 quavers, right? Because 2 semiquavers is equals to 1 quaver. All right, so this is 1 quaver. These two notes here makes up 1 quaver. This one makes up another quaver. Plus this quaver here, total it is 3 quavers. So from here to here, it is 3 quavers. So we look at this, we know that this is likely to be in compound time and the base is likely to be 8, right? Okay, because it is likely the beats are counted in quaver beats. So when the bottom number is 8, that means each beat is a quaver beat. Okay, so now let's count how many quaver beats there are. So 1 crotchet is equals to 2 quavers, plus this quaver here, so you have 3 quavers now, plus another 3 quavers for this group of notes makes 6 quavers, then 7 quavers, 8 quavers, 9 quavers. So total there are 9 quavers, so 9/8 is the time signature for this. Okay, let me erase everything. Okay, now next question, you're asked to select the correct time signature for the bar. So looking at this, I see a triplet, so very likely it's not going to be compound time. It is likely not compound time because for compound time we'll use duplet in general. Okay, so for this, because I see a crotchet and it seems to me that this adds up to be equals to a crotchet, so the groupings are like in crotchet beats. So I am going to count how many crotchet beats there are. So this is 1 crotchet beat, right? How about this? Well, this consists of 2 semiquavers, which makes a quaver, plus another quaver, which makes another quaver. So 2 quavers make a crotchet, so this is 1 crotchet beat again. Now let's take a look at this. So I have this and a triplet consisting of 3 semiquavers. So triplets, we can look at it as 3 becomes 2, right? So when you put a 3 below this 3 notes, the time value is equals to 2 of them. So that means the time value of these is equals to 2 semiquavers, and 2 semiquavers is equals to a quaver. So 1 quaver plus another quaver here, this here is another crotchet beat. Let's take a look at this part. So you have a dotted quaver plus a demi-semiquaver. So whenever you have a dotted quaver, when you have 2 dots, it means it is itself plus half of red plus a quarter of red. Okay, so this note here, this dotted double dotted semiquaver, this double dotted quaver is equivalent to 1 quaver plus a semiquaver plus a demi-semiquaver. Now I need to add in another demi-semiquaver here. So what does it add up? So 2 demi-semiquaver is equals to a semiquaver. Next 2 semiquavers will give a quaver. So I have a quaver plus another quaver, which gives a crotchet beat. So total there are 4 crotchet beats in this bar, and 4 crotchet beats in a bar has a time signature of 4/4. Let's move on to this part here. So I see a triplet, okay, but all of these are in 8, right? So that means I'm going to count them in quaver beats. So now let's take a look. This is 1 quaver beat. 1 quaver beat. This 2 semiquavers add up to be another quaver beat. This is another quaver. So up to here, I have 3 quaver beats, 4 quaver beats, 5 quiver beats, and this triplet here, again, remember triplets means 3 is equals to 2, right? So the time value of these 3 notes with a triplet sign below it is equals to the time value of just 2 of them. Okay, so this is equals to 2 quiver beats. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So total there are 7 quiver beats in a bar, and therefore the time signature here is 7/8. Alright, now this is compound time, and you're going to write it in simple time. Okay, so for my students, usually I say that if you have a compound time, the first thing you do is to make sure that you change the compound time into simple time. Okay, but if you look at this, all of them have the same simple time. So definitely 12/8 in compound time. When you change it to simple time, it must be 4/4. Okay. Okay, but if it's not, if you have different time signatures, then what you do is the top part you divide by 3, the bottom part you divide by 2 to make it into simple time. So 12 divided by 3 you get 4, 8 divided by 2 you get 4. So 4/4 is the same as this, which we call common time. So this is the key signature. Okay, sorry, time signature. So they are all the same, so don't need to do anything. Actually, you don't even need to do a conversion because the time signature will definitely be 4/4. Next, we need to change compound time into simple time. So this, which adds up to be a dotted crochet, right, must be changed into a crochet. So how do you do that? Well, when you have a group of notes like this, you just need to put a triplet sign. Okay, then it will be equals to, the time value will be equals to a crochet beat. Okay, same thing, these 3 notes add up to be equals to a dotted crochet. So in order to change it to simple time, you just put a triplet sign below it, so it will become a crochet beat in simple time. This is the same as this, so same thing, you just put a triplet sign below this. Okay, so up to here, this is correct, this is correct, this is correct, this is correct, this is correct. This one doesn't have a triplet sign, it's out. So let's take a look at this too. And finally, if you have a dotted crochet, you change it to a crochet. So therefore, if you have a dotted crochet rest, you change it to a crochet rest. So this is wrong, you need to change it to crochet rest. So therefore, the answer is this one here. Okay. Alright, moving on to the next part. So for this part here, it is just filling in the blanks with the correct answers, right? Okay, so let's take a look at it. So in 6/8, there are how many dotted quiver beats in a bar? So dotted quiver is this, right? Sorry, 6/16. So 6/16, when the bottom number is 16, that means each beat is a semi-quiver beat, right? And I know that there are 6 semi-quiver beats in a bar. So in other words, something like this. Okay, and 3 semi-quavers is equals to a dotted quiver, right? So in other words, there are 2 dotted quiver beats in a bar. Next, a brief. So a brief is this, right? Okay, and it is equals to 8 crochet beats. Okay. Next, select which of the bar is grouped correctly. So let's start off by looking at the time signature. It is 9/4, it is compound time. So 9/4 is compound time. So compound time, so we are going to group them this way. 3 beats by 3 beats. So how to group each of these 3 beats here? It is the same as how you group the notes for 3/4 time. Alright. Okay, so now this is first beat, second beat, third beat. Okay, and there's a tie here because now this is the first semi-quiver of the 4th beat, right? This is, or this note here is part of the 4th beat, and the 4th beat belongs to the next group of 3. So therefore you need a tie. So they all have a tie for this. So this is the first 3 beats. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. In fact, they're all the same, so must be correct. So don't need to look from here. So you start looking from here. Okay, so next, the fourth beat, right? So the fourth beat, they should all be grouped together. So this is correct, this is correct, this is wrong, because we are counting in crochet beats. So each crochet beat should be grouped together. Okay, so this is wrong. So this one is out already. Okay, then the fifth beat, so this is 4, then this is 5, and this is 6. This is 4, 5, then this is 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is wrong because 7, 8, 9 belongs to the next group of 3. So they should be grouped separately. So this is wrong. This is correct because 7, 8, 9 should be grouped separately. And it is done so in this one here. So therefore the answer for this is the first one. The first one is the correct answer. Okay. So there you go. The first one is the correct answer. All right, let's take a look at the grouping of rest. So this is 3, 4 time. So let's take a look at this. So this is the first crochet beat, dotted quiver plus semi-quiver makes up a crochet. Okay. Then next, 2 semi-quiver plus a quiver makes up another crochet beat. Then finally a crochet beat. So this is correct in terms of time value. Okay. So I will mark it as correct. Moving on to the next bar. So now this is my quiver. Quiver plus quiver is a crochet. So this is a crochet. Okay. Next, if I look at this is a triplet. So I want another. So if I look at this is a crochet, right? All these 4 semi-quavers add up to be a crochet. So what should I have here? So I should have a crochet beat here, right? But in order to have a triplet and add up to be a crochet, here must be a dotted crochet, then you put a triplet. So if you have a crochet, you still need a quiver in order to put a triplet and get a crochet, to have the time value of a crochet. So this is wrong. It should be a quiver, not a semi-quiver. Okay, so this is incorrect. Moving on to Z, this is a crochet beat. This is the second crochet beat. Then this is the third crochet beat. So 4 semi-quavers make a crochet. So there are already 3 semi-quavers. So I need 1 more semi-quavers to make the crochet beat. So 3 is so Z is correct. Okay. So this will be my answer for 5. Okay, let's move on. Okay, next, peach. So peach is worth 10 marks. So the first question would be in tenor clef and you are asked what note it is. So usually for this, if you're not familiar with tenor clef, because the instrument you use is not in tenor clef, which is like probably most of us, then remember reference note. So this is middle C, C4. Okay, then this is C3, the C that is 1 octave lower. So let's count from here. So I need to count downwards because this note here is lower than this C here. So this is C, then this is B, then this is A. So this note here is A. All right. Let's move on here. So select the n harmonic equivalent of this note. Okay, so let's draw out the piano. Okay, and this is the note E, right? So which other note is E? So this one is D with a sharp. So if you have a note without any sharp or flat, then in order to, if you have a sharp, it is 1 semitone. I'll use ST as short form for semitone. 1 semitone higher or 1 semitone to the right, it will become sharp. Then another, to be double sharp, it is 1 semitone higher than sharp, or 2 semitones higher than a natural. For flat, it is 1 semitone lower than no sharp, no flat, or natural. And double flat, it is 1 semitone lower than your flat. Okay, so now coming back to this is D sharp, right? Okay, D sharp. So this is D, and sharp is one semitone higher. So this is D sharp. So it is not the same as E, so they are not enharmonic. So this is out. Next, this is F flat. So this is F. Okay, flat means one semitone lower. So here is F flat, and F flat is the same as E. So yes, F flat is enharmonic, okay, of this note. Is the enharmonic equivalent of this note here, which is E. This is F, which is here, so it's not enharmonic to E. Okay, so therefore the answer is this one here. All right, next, let's take a look. Here is a bar at written pitch for clarinet in A. Okay, so this is the written pitch at clarinet in A. The bar has been transposed down a minor third to be at concert pitch. So you need to go down by a third to be at concert pitch. There are some mistakes, so you need to find where the mistakes are. Okay, so you need to look at the key signature. So if you look at this, if you have F sharp and C sharp, it is a D major key signature. Don't care about the minor, it doesn't matter because you're only interested in the key signature. How about this? This is a E major key signature. So if you go from D, okay, you go down a third, right? D, C, B. It should be B, okay? Or B flat. So let's take a look at this. Let's use a piano. Remember, if you have a minor third, okay, it is 3 semitones apart. Okay, so now I try D, then I'm going to go down 3 semitones. So 1 semitone, 2 semitone, 3 semitone. So from D, it should go to B. Okay, and if it's major, it remains as major. So the correct key should be B major, or the key signature should be that of B major, and B major has 5 sharps. So therefore, the key signature is incorrect. Okay, because B major is F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp. There is no A sharp in the key signature, so it is not correct. Okay. All right. So next, let's move on to the notes. Okay, so I usually teach my students, if it's a third apart, that means you stack, right? So what I mean by stacking, if you're here, if you want to be a third down, is here. If you're here, a third down will be this note here. If you're a third, it will be here, and so on. So let's check whether, before we go on to check whether it is a minor third, let's first check whether it is a third apart, okay, or a third lower. So D go to B, yes, they are stacked below each other, right? Because a third below, it should be this B, okay. B should go to G, yes, it went to G. A should go to F, E should go to C. Okay, so yes, they are all a third apart. So now what we need to do is to check whether they are a semitone apart. Okay, so let me erase everything again, and let me draw out the piano. I'll try to draw 2 octaves so that I can cover most of the grounds. Okay, so let's check. Now I have D, and I go to B. Let's check whether it is 3 semitones. 1, 2, 3. Yes, so this is correct. Okay, next, B flat to G. So this is B flat. Okay, let's go down 3 semitones. 1 semitone, 2 semitone, 3 semitone. So this is G, and it is G natural, so it is correct as well. Okay, then next, let's go on to this one here. I have A, which is, let me use this one here. I have A. Okay, let me go down 3 semitones. 1 semitone, 2 semitone, 3 semitones. I should go to F sharp. But here, instead of having F sharp, I have F natural, so 3 is wrong. Finally, let's go to C. Maybe I add a bit more so that I don't need to use these here. So I have E now. This is E, right? Now I'm going to go down 3 semitones. 1 semitone, 2 semitones, 3 semitones. I should have C sharp, right? So this is C sharp because of the key signature. So yes, this is correct. So in other words, I have 1 being correct, 2 being correct, 3 being incorrect, and 4 being correct. Okay, next, let's take a look at this. Select true or false for each of the 3 statements. So what I need to do is I need to check whether it's true or false, and this is a pitch question. So usually I'll recommend my students to start off by looking at just the first note, or just choose any note. Do you want the first note or you want the last note? It doesn't matter. So I want to use the first note, okay? And then let's use the different C's as a reference. So this is middle C, right? Or C4. This is C5, 1 octave higher. So for A, let me use this to say this option A is in between C4 and C5. So let me write it here. C4, C5, and this is option A. Okay? Now, let's move on to B. So this is my C3, which is 1 octave lower than my C4, and I call C4 middle C. So this E flat here is in between C3 and C4, right? So option B, the first note is in between C3 and C4. Next, let's look at option C. So this is middle C, which is C4, and this is C5 for alto clef, right? So if I look at this, this is E flat again, and this E flat here is in between C4 and C5. So option C is in between C4 and C5. So from here, very likely, I didn't check the rest, okay? But the rest of the notes should be similar, okay? So you just choose one note. So for this type of questions, the trick is to just choose one note, okay? Then mark out where they are in between, which C the first note is in between. Okay, so now I know from here A and C are the same pitch. B is 1 octave lower than A and C. So we can start answering the questions once we have laid this out. Okay, so now first, A and B are at the same pitch. Definitely not. A and C are at the same pitch. B is 1 octave lower, so this is false. B is 1 octave lower than C. Yes, it is correct. C is 1 octave higher than A. No, A and C are of the same pitch. So it's false, true, false. Okay, so now that we have done this, the next thing we should do is the keys and scales. So you can have a piece of rough paper for the exam, which you can write out. So for the piece of rough paper, right, when you're doing the keys and scales, right, I will highly recommend this. Write out the sharp, okay, then the major and the minor, okay, then you write out what are the keys and what key signature they have and so on, okay, before you do it. So now let's go through this. Okay, so you're asked, select the correctly written key signature of B major. So recall I say you should have a key signature chart. So you will write this sharp, then major, minor, okay, then it starts off with C major, A minor, right, then G major, E minor, then you have a F sharp as the key signature, D major and B minor, so you have F sharp and C sharp, A major and F sharp minor, and the key signature will have F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. E major and C sharp minor, key signature F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. Okay. B major and G sharp minor, and the key signature is F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, and A sharp. And F sharp major and D sharp minor, so your key signature would be F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, and E sharp. Okay, so B major, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sharps, right? 5 sharps, 5 sharps, 5 sharps, 5 sharps. Okay, nothing to eliminate. Okay, then remember the pattern for the 6 sharps for the 6 sharps Okay, so it should be down, down, up, right? So it's down, down, up, down, down. So two sharps, then the two sharps here. But there's only 5 sharps here. So, okay. But one look at this, I know this is up because it should be below, then go up. So this is out based on the pattern. Okay. Okay, let me show you what I meant for the autoclave. So one way to look at it is just remember how they look like, the pattern. So it will be F sharp, then C sharp, okay, then G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, right? E sharp. So it is down, down, up. That was what I meant by the down, down, up pattern. Down, down, up, right? So this one is so high, how do you go up, right? From the 5th to the 6th sharp. So one look at this, this is out. Okay? Okay, so we usually use the pattern to quickly eliminate anything that is not correct. Okay, then this one is up, up. Okay, so this one is out. Okay, so one look at it, the tenor clef one is also wrong. Okay. Okay, so this one is wrong. Then here, this is F sharp, C sharp. This is not C, this is D, so this is out. This one, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, should be A sharp. This is not B. Okay. Recall that, right, for all the sharps, it is this way, except for tenor clef. Okay, it goes this way. Right, so this is F, C, G, D, A. So this is correct. Okay, so therefore, this is the correct one. All right, let's take a look at this question here. Select the correctly written key signature of E flat minor. So when you start doing this section, right, on the scales, keys and scales, okay, I highly recommend writing out all the key signature for the 6 sharp 6 flats for all the 4 clefs, treble clef, bass clef, auto and tenor clef, and also your key signature chart. So based on this, you'll know that if you compare it with what you have written, okay, in your rough paper, then the key signature will be this one. So this is the answer. Question, select the correct key of the melody. So you should have your key signature chart written already. So if you look at this one only has F sharp, right? Okay, nothing else. So the key signature with only F sharp is G major, so it is G. Okay, next, this one here. Okay, let's take a look at here. I have A sharp, F sharp, and C sharp. So if you have sharps for key signature, it should be F sharp and C sharp, right? Then you should have, if you want to have also A sharp in the key signature, then you need F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, then A sharp. But if you have to look at this, D is not a sharp, okay? Is there any G note here? There isn't. Okay, there is no D sharp. So very likely this A sharp, okay, is likely to be a 7th note. Okay, so if you check your key signature chart, F sharp and C sharp belongs to D major as well as B minor, but for B minor, the sharpened 7th note is A sharp. So very likely the key signature for this is B minor. Moving on to the next one, select the correct key again. So let's take a look at this. What do I have? Well, I have G sharp here, G sharp, D sharp, F sharp, C sharp. So if I arrange it, is F sharp, C sharp. Okay, this one is G, G sharp, this G sharp, G sharp, D sharp. 4 sharps, right? So if you have these 4 sharps, it's either E major or C sharp minor. If you have C sharp minor, you should have B sharp. So I do have a B note here, but there's no accidental. All right, so it's likely that it is E major. So this is E major. All right, next, select the omitted pitch marked X and Y to complete the scale of B flat harmonic minor. Okay, so B flat harmonic minor, okay, it is, what key signature does it have? Okay, so it will have, so use your key signature chart. The key signature is this. Right, so you need flat for everything except for C. Okay, except for C. So everything should have a flat except for C. Okay, then next, because it is harmonic minor, the 7th note is A, right? So if you want to sharpen A flat, okay, so in B flat harmonic, in B flat minor, the 7th note is A flat, and A flat already has a flat. So you want to sharpen it, the flat will become natural. Okay, so this is B flat, the next note, which is the 7th note, because it's descending, so it's the tonic, then the 7th note, the 6th note, and so on. And it's harmonic, so we need to sharpen the 7th note. So the A flat becomes A natural, or just A. Okay, next, B flat, then A, then G, and G will have a flat based on the key signature, so it's B, G flat. Okay, so this is the answer for this question here. Okay, so you have A and G flat. Next, let's move at this. Select the correct clef to form a minor scale. So I want a minor scale, right? So for minor scale, the 2nd and the 3rd note, so they didn't say whether it is a harmonic or they didn't say whether it is harmonic or melodic, okay? But one look at this, right, I know that it must be harmonic. Okay, why? Because this is ascending. If it's ascending, what do? You sharpen the 6th and the 7th note, right? Once you sharpen the 6th and the 7th note, right, there will never be a flat on the 6th note. Because if it's a flat, it becomes natural. It was initially no flat, then it becomes sharp. If it's sharp, it becomes double sharp. So this, for ascending, right, the 6th and 7th note, right, should either be no key, no accident, sorry, I shouldn't say accidentals. It should be either natural or sharp or double sharp. It can never be flat. So because there's a flat here, I know that it must be harmonic. Okay, that's the first thing. So I know that it is harmonic. So this is harmonic, and then here. So very likely, if you look at this, there is one flat, right? Then you have the sharpened 7th note. Okay, so which minor has just one flat? It is D minor, right? So D minor, the key signature is B flat. Okay, based on the key signature chart. Then another thing that we need to remember is, okay, the 7th note is C, so I'll put a sharpen it. Okay, so it's B flat and C sharp. So this must be B flat and C sharp. So which keys? Which clef should I use so that I get B flat and C sharp here? Well, it is bass clef. So this is bass clef. Okay, next let's move on to this one here. Okay, so now let's take a look at this. What do I know about this one here? Okay, there's a lot of sharp. Okay, there's a lot of sharp. Okay, then next I need to sharpen this. Okay, sharpen. Okay. Okay, and if you have to look at your keys, okay, if you look at your key signature sharp for your key signature chart. Okay, for minor with sharp, right? It is A, E, D sharp minor, right? Something like this. Okay, so if you have to look at this, okay, if I were to look at it very lightly, right, this is either F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, or D sharp. Cannot be A, E, or B, or anything else. Okay, doesn't really tell me much, right? Okay, so let's look at this. If I were to put a treble clef here, it will be D sharp minor, right? Okay, so for D sharp minor, I have there's these 6 sharps, right? Okay, again, I don't know whether it is a what should I say? I do not know whether it is harmonic or melodic. Okay, but I know that if this is D sharp, okay, I need to check that there are 6 sharp, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, one look at it, F must definitely be a sharp, but there's no sharp here, so this is out already. Surely it is not treble clef because F needs to be a sharp, but there is no sharp here. Okay, next let's move on. If it's a bass clef, bass clef, let me draw the bass clef. So if a bass clef, this is F sharp minor, right? So F sharp minor has F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. Okay, you should already have your key signature chart with you all the time, so you can just refer, don't need to rewrite it again. Write it on the rough paper that you should be providing yourself. Okay, for the exam, you can have 2 pieces of white paper for the exam. So put it beside your laptop when you're doing the exams. Okay, you need to show the examiner that is blank before you when you're taking a video of the surrounding. Okay, now coming back to here. So for F sharp minor, you have F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. So let's check. I have F sharp, C is a sharp, and G is a sharp. Okay, so I have F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. Next, this is D and this is E. Okay, and I sharpen them. Is it possible? Yes, because this is the 6th and the 7th note, okay, of the scale. And if I would, and it is ascending. So for the 6th and the 7th note, I can sharpen them. So D and E in F sharp minor, there is no sharp. But if I were to sharpen them, it will become just sharp. So yes, this is correct. So this could be the scale of F sharp, melodic minor, ascending. So bass clef is correct. Okay. But before we confirm that it's bass clef, let's just check the rest, okay, for the alto and the tenor clef. You'll notice that for some questions, it requires a bit more checking than others, okay? Okay, next, let's take a look at this. This is my alto clef, right? So if I were to use alto clef, then here would be middle C, and here would be C3, 1 octave lower than middle C. So what note is this? Okay, you can count from here or you can count from here. This is C, D, E. So this is E sharp minor. No E sharp minor in your syllabus. So sure it's out. Okay? Okay. Now let's take a look at this one. Tenor clef. Okay, let's move on to our tenor clef. So this, if we have tenor clef, this will be middle C, and this one will be a C that is 1 octave lower, the C3. So therefore, this will be C sharp minor, right? C sharp minor. So for C sharp minor, you have F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. Okay, so this is F sharp. This one is C sharp, okay? For tenor clef, this is C sharp. Okay. If you look at it, F is not a sharp. This note is F. C, B, A, G, F. This is F. There's no sharp. So it cannot be C sharp minor because C sharp minor has F sharp. So we have confirmed that bass clef is the correct clef, because by putting it as a bass clef, we will have our F sharp minor, melodic minor ascending. Okay, let's take a look at this one. So again, there are two flats and it is descending, right? Okay, descending. So it's very likely it is melodic. Why melodic? No, it need not be melodic or harmonic, sorry. I can't tell it's melodic or harmonic because it's descending. Okay, having a flat on the sixth note doesn't tell you that it is harmonic or melodic. Now let's come back to here. So let's do it slowly. So it is treble clef. Okay, so it has flat, right? So remember, you have flat and your minor. So I start with A minor, which has no flat. It will be D minor, G minor, C minor, F minor, B flat minor, E flat minor. 1, 2, 3, 4. A flat minor. Okay? So this is G minor, right? G minor, what does it have? It has B flat and E flat, right? Okay, it has B flat and E flat. Oh, okay, sounds correct. Okay, and if you have melodic minor for descending, then you just follow the key signature, right? So probably this is okay. Seems like it is G minor, right? So this is okay. So G minor is correct. But before I go and eliminate everything, let me check the rest. Okay. Now bass clef. If this is bass clef, what should it be? It should be B minor, right? I only have B flat minor for minor keys with flat. I don't have B minor. Okay, so wait, let me write it here so that it's clearer. So now I'm going to change to bass clef, right? Bass clef. So for bass clef, this is B, right? But you look at here, and I know that I should look at the minor keys with flat because I see flats. Okay, so this is must be B minor, but there's no B minor with flat. Okay, B minor has sharp, F sharp. Okay, so it is out, so bass clef is out. Let's take a look at if I were to use auto clef. So auto clef. Okay, auto clef is not natural to me, so I do need to count. So if this is middle C, C4, this is C5. So let's count C, D, E, F, G, A. This is A, right? Okay, so this is A. If it's A in auto clef, this will be A minor. Okay, if it's A minor, it should have no flat and only sharpen the seventh note if it is harmonic. Okay, so it is out. You do not have E flat and D flat because there's no flat for A minor. So this is out. Okay, so it can't be auto clef. Let's check whether it can be tenor clef. So if it's tenor clef, this is my middle C here. Okay, if this is C for tenor clef, this C, D, E, F, right? So this is F. So it is F minor. Let's check whether could it be F minor. So this is F, G, A flat, B, A. Sorry, wrong. F, E, D, C, F, E, D flat, C, B, A flat, G, F, right? So if you have to look at this, D flat, so F minor has B flat, E flat, A flat, G flat, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 flats, yeah. Okay, so I should have B flat, there's no B flat here. I should have E flat, no E flat. I should have A flat, sorry, D flat, B, E, A, B, da, 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 da. Okay, I should have E flat, also no E flat. I should have A flat, yes, there's A flat, there is D flat, but I do not have B and E, so wrong. So it cannot be tenor clef. Okay, so therefore it is treble clef. Okay, this is the correctly written chromatic scale beginning on C. So let's look at this. So this is C, right? So let's draw out the piano. Okay, so I first check, start with C. Did it end with C? Yes, it ends with C. So correct. Next, is there any note that is not being used? So I need to make sure that I go up, okay, from the line to the space, 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 yes. And each note is not used more than 2 times, yes. So therefore I need to check one note by one note now. So this is C, this is C sharp, yes, it goes up by a semitone. This is D, yes. This is D sharp, yes. This is E, correct. F, good. F sharp, good. G, correct. G sharp is here. A, yes. A sharp, yes. B, C. So from one note to the next, I move up by a semitone. So this is the correctly written chromatic scale starting with C. So it is true. Okay, next, this is the correctly written chromatic scale beginning on E flat. So again, okay, start with E flat and with E flat. Okay, can. Let's check, does it go through all the notes from E all the way to E? E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E. Okay, is there any note that's used more than twice? Okay, twice, 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 once, once. Once, twice, twice. Okay, no note that is used more than 2 times, and every note, if I ignore the flat and the sharp, is used at least once. So okay, so now I do need to check whether they are going down by a semitone each time. So I start from E flat. Oh, sorry, I should start from here because it's descending. Okay. Okay, so I start from E flat. Then this is D, correct. D flat, correct. C is here. C flat is 1 semitone lower than C, correct. B, this C flat and this B are the same note, so this is wrong already. Okay, so with that, I know that it is false. This is not correctly written because I go to this note twice. Okay, next, this is the leading note in B major. So the leading note is the 7th note, right? So let's count. B is 1, C is 2, D is 3, E is 4, F is 5, G is 6, A is 7, so it's A. Next, in B major, there is a key signature of F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp. Okay, so it should have a sharp. So yes, it is true. So this is true. Okay. Next, this is the subdominant in A minor. Subdominant means 4th. So A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4th. So this is F. Okay, but I want D, so it's false. Next, this is the submedian in F sharp minor. Okay, submedian means 6, right? So F sharp minor. So F sharp minor have F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and the 7th note is E sharp. Okay, but we are looking at submedian, which is the 6. So let's count F, G, A, B, C, D. Okay, so it should be D. Okay, and there's no sharp. Okay, so it is true. Okay, next let's look at intervals. Okay, select the name of the interval. Okay, so if you look at this, this is B and this is E. Okay, so if you look at this from B to B, it is 1 octave, right? This is 8th, right? Then 9, 10, 11. So it's 11th. Okay, or if you want to use the compound whatever, so you start counting from this B, or you minus 7, so it's the 4th. Compound whatever 4th. Okay, and because if you have fourth or fifth or eighth or compound of fourth, fifth, and eighth, you either have perfect, okay, then augmented or diminished. Straight away major 10 is out. Okay, it must be anyways 11th, right? So it's either 4th or 11th, cannot be 10, so major 10 is out. So with that, let's take a look at what we have. Okay, so now that we have this, so let's look at B to E. Okay, there are many ways of doing this. Okay, so you can do it two ways. One of it is by counting the number of semitones. The other way is by using the major key as the reference. So your key signature table that you have done in the previous section on scales, it's very useful. You still use it for this one here. So you have B and E. So if you look at your key signature chart, sorry, for your major and minor keys, B major has F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp. E is just E. So B major has E, and this is exactly what we have. So when we have the notes in a major scale, then it is either perfect if it's fourth or fifth or eighth, or the compounds of them, or major for the rest. Okay, so therefore this is compound perfect fourth. Next, this is G and D flat. Let's count. If G is 1, G, A, B, C, D, E. G, A, B, C, D, 5, right? So fifth. So these two are out because it's a fifth. Next, we go to our key signature chart, and we know that G major should have D, not D flat, right? So let me mark out the interval. So G major should have D. In order to have the perfect fifth, it should be G and D. But now I have D flat. So D flat, I make it closer to, so here to here is a perfect interval. But now I'm making it closer. When I have D flat, G and D flat now is closer compared to perfect. So one semitone closer, it's diminished. Once it's closer, it's diminished anyway. So this diminished fifth. Now let's take a look at this. So if I have to look at this, this is F and this is G. So F is 1, right? F. Okay, let's just do this. F to F is 8. To this G here is 9. Okay, or -7 is a compound second. Compound something second. So it's either second or 9, 10 is out. So now I'm left with these three. Okay, so now I have F and G, right? So F major, if you look at your key signature chart, F major, G is just G, no sharp, no flat, right? So this is F, the lower note, this is G, and they are the notes in F major. So it's a major interval. Okay, but because it is either compound major second or major 9, so this is wrong, it's major 9. So the answer is major 9. So there are actually two methods for finding the interval. One is by using the major key as the reference. The other one is by counting the number of semitones. For that, you need to memorize it. I go through it in great detail in my course. So if you are interested, link in description below. Okay, next, let's take a look at this. Select the type of interval displayed, so you don't need to have 7s, 8, 9, and so on already. But in order to decide whether it's perfect or major or minor, okay, you need to find what is the spacing between them in terms of second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on. So yes, you do still need. This D, this F, they are more than an octave apart. So this is D, and this is a D that is 1 octave apart. So this 8 already, 9, 10. So it's a 10th. Because it is 10th, okay, or it is compound whatever third, okay, you cannot be perfect. Okay, it's either major, minor, diminished, or augmented. Now let's try the using major key as a reference. So I have D and F. So if you look at your key signature chart, D major should have F sharp. But now instead of having F sharp, you are F. So you're one semitone closer than the interval required for major. So one semitone closer will make major into minor. So therefore the interval here is minor. Okay. Moving on to the next one. This is G and this is E, and because of the key signature here, this is G and this is E, sorry, this is bass clef. So this is B flat and this is G. Okay, let's draw out the piano. Okay, so I have B flat here and I have G here, right? In B flat major, I have B flat and E flat, right? So to go to G, okay, it is the notes of the major key. And this is a 6 apart, so perfect is out. So it is major. Okay. Okay, next let's take a look at this. I have F sharp and E flat. There are a few ways to do this question. So you can look at what is F sharp major. So F sharp major, so if you look at the major keys and the key signature, what sharp they have. So yes, C, G, D, A, E, F sharp, right? So 1 sharp, 2 sharp, 3 sharp, 4 sharp, 5 sharp, 6 sharp. So you have F sharp, C sharp, G, D, A, E. Okay. So if you have to look at this, okay, let's use the F as a F sharp major. It should have E sharp, right? So E sharp is essentially F. Okay, so this is the major interval. But now what happens? I have E flat, right? So I am one semitone note closer and another semitone closer. So you are two semitone closer than the major. Okay, so one semitone closer, you're okay, wait. So two semitone closer. Okay, so two semitone closer is definitely diminished already. Yeah. Okay, but anyway, we look at this, the interval is a 7th apart. So if for 7th, you have major, minor, diminished, or augmented. So if the two notes belong to that of the major key, it's basically just major. If they are one semitone closer to each other, is minor. Two semitones closer is diminished. So therefore, the answer for this is diminished. Okay. Okay, next, drag and drop one of the 5 note heads marked to create an interval of compound perfect fifth. Okay, so I need compound perfect fifth, right? So 1 octave is more than an octave apart. So here to here is an 8th. So to be compound perfect fifth, it will be at G, right? C, D, E, F, G. So here to here is a 5th. So that is how I get compound fifth. Okay, next, I want C sharp, right? So if you look at your key signature chart, no C sharp major. It's okay. So you can use C sharp, then or you can just use C major. Okay, in C major, you have G, right? So in other words, in C sharp major, you have G sharp. So in order to be perfect, it must follow the notes in the major key. So C sharp must have G sharp. So I'll select the sharp here and put it here. Okay, so this is my G sharp. Next, drag and drop so that you'll create an interval of minor 7th. Okay, so from B flat to A, it's going to be a 7th, right? B flat major only has B flat and E flat. So if it's a major key, your B flat major should have A without any sharp or flat. So in order to have major seventh, I'll have B flat to A. Okay, but now I don't want B flat, right? Sorry, I do not want major, I want minor. So minor is one semitone closer, so I should have A flat. So select the flat and put A here. Okay, so this will give us a minor seventh. Okay, next, drag and drop the notes. Okay, then you need an augmented 12. So augmented 12, so let's minus 7. So it is actually compound augmented. So 12 minus 7 is 5, right? So it's compound augmented fifth. Okay, so for fourth and fifth is perfect, then augmented. Okay, so it's just one semitone higher than the perfect or the major. Okay, this is C, right? So okay, C. So if you're to count C to this C here is an 8th. Plus another 5 more, it should go to this G here. So next, let's take a look. If I have C and G, it is going to be perfect, right? Because C major, no sharp, no flat, so you have G note. But I do not want perfect, compound perfect fifth. I want compound augmented fifth, so I need to be one semitone higher, so it should be G sharp. Okay, so let me put G sharp, and it must be this G here in order to be compound augmented fifth. Okay, so there you go, this G sharp here. Answer. Okay, next, okay, drag and drop so as to create minor third. Okay, minor third. So this is G note, G, A, B, so I need to be at B in order to be a third apart, right? Okay, so next let's check whether I need any sharp or flat. So G major only F sharp, right? So B is just B in G major. But I want minor, so I should be one semitone closer. So it should be, and this will be my B flat. So I will need B flat here. Okay. Okay, so with that, I complete the section on intervals. Let's move on to chords. Okay, select suitable chords for the two cadences, okay, by choosing 1, 2, 4, 5 in each, okay? So now, let's take a look at this. This is my F sharp, right? Then, so if you have F sharp as the key signature, you have either the G major or E minor, okay? But E minor, you have the 7th note is D sharp. I do not see any D sharp anywhere. So therefore, it is G major. And let's just check. I start with G, I end with G. High chance is G major. So this is in G major. So first, let's write out chord 1 is G, B, D. Chord 2, A, C, E. Chord 4, C, G, A, B, C. So it's C. So it's C, E, G. Chord 5, okay, it is E, G, sorry, D is D, D, F sharp, A. Okay, G, A, B, C, D. Yes, so D, F sharp, A. Okay, so now let's take a look at this. What is A? So A, E, D, C. So this is a passing note, right, to go from E to C. So this chord consists of A, E, C, A, E, C. So this is chord 2. Next, this one is D and F. So if I have D and F, the one is 5. So this is A is 2, B is 5. Okay, so 2, 5. Okay, let's move on to the third one. This is B, G, D. B, G, D. So this is chord 1, right? This one C, E, D, C, E, D, C, G. So this is likely a passing note again. So it's C, E, G. C, E, G. So this is chord 4. Finally, B, D, G. B, D, G. This is chord 1. So it's 1, 4, 1. Okay, so C is 1, D is 4, E is 1. Answer. Okay, next, we need to find out whether it is perfect, plagal, or imperfect. Right. Okay, so perfect is 5, 1, right? Imperfect means ends with, then plagal is 4, 1. Okay, so let's take a look at this. F sharp and C sharp, they already tell me it's D major. So for D major, let's look at chord 1 is D, F sharp, A, right? And you look at this D, F sharp, A, D. So this is chord 1. So it is definitely not imperfect because imperfect ends with 5. So we end with 1 is either plagal or perfect. Okay, so for this type of questions, I'll just write 1, 4, and 5 because you just need to check the last chord first. If it's 5, doesn't matter what is this chord, it is definitely going to be imperfect. If you check the last chord is 1, then you just need to know whether this is chord 4 or chord 5 to decide whether it's perfect or plagal. Okay, so let's look at this. I have A, C sharp, and E. So it's 5. So it's 5, 1, so it is perfect. Okay, let's move on to this one. This is F major. So again, F major, I'll write out 1, 4, and 5. Okay, so these are chord 1, chord 4, chord 5. Okay, so let's first check the last chord is F again. So it's chord 1, F, A, C. So this is chord 1. So let's check this here is B flat, D, and F. So B flat, D, and F is 4. 4, 1 is plagal. Okay, moving on to the next one. So for this one here, you need to write what is the chord, and you need to write whether it's root position, which is A, first inversion, which is B, and second inversion, which is C. Okay, let's do it. They tell me it's C minor, C minor. Okay, so I'll write out by chord 1, chord 2, chord 4, and chord 5. So 1 is C, E, flat, G. Okay, let's just ignore the flat and sharp lah. Okay, because this is not tested. So I'll just write it as C, E, G. Okay. Okay, so now let's take a look at this. I have G, E, G, C. So G, E, G, C. So it's chord 1, right? Next, what is the lowest note? The lowest note is G, which is the third note in this chord. So it is C. So it's 1C. Second inversion. Okay. Now let's move on to the second chord is A, C, F. A, C, F, C. So it is chord 4, right? So I know it's chord 4. Okay, once I know this is chord 4, the lowest note is A, which is the second note in this chord. So it is first inversion, 4B. Okay, so 4B here. Finally, this G, B, D, G, G, B, D, G. So this is chord 5, right? Notes from chord 5. And the lowest note is G, which is the first note in this chord. So it is 5A. So it's in root position. Okay, so with that, we are going on to the next part, which is our terms, signs, and instruments. This one is mainly a lot of memory work. Okay, so let's do it. So first question, morendo. So what is morendo? Morendo simply means dying away. Okay, next, largamenta, that means broadly. Okay, next, mesto. Mesto simply means sad. Okay, next, da 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 da. So once you look at this, appoggiatura don't have so many notes. One turns also not so many notes. So this is a trill. We have so many notes, very likely it's a trill. Next, if you look at like this, la 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 la. Okay, so this is going to be a turn. This is going to be a turn. Okay, so we will call this a turn. Okay, and there's only one turn, upper turn. So the answer is upper turn. Next, a flute usually plays at a higher pitch than a bassoon. Yes, so the flute is one of the higher pitched instruments. Bassoon is bass clef, right? So this is true. Okay, moving on to the next one. The trumpet is a woodwind instrument. Not true. Trumpet is a brass instrument. Cymbals produce sounds of definite pitch. No, it's only clang, 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 so it's forced. Okay, so it is indefinite pitch. A trombone uses a double reed. This is also false. Okay, then finally, a mezzo-soprano has a lower range than a soprano. Yes, it's true. Okay, next, music in context. So you notice that for section 6, right, it's very easy to score if you memorize the instruments, the ornaments, as well as the terms and signs. I know it's a lot to memorize for the 10 marks, but if you memorized it, you are going to do it very quickly. Okay, next, music in context. So you have all these musics here. So let's take a look at A. So compare the following bars to the right-hand part of bar 2. So this one is a lot like the melody question that you see. The pitch question that you see. So again, I recommend just use the first note, okay, of bar 2 and of all these as a reference. Okay, so this is bar 2, right? So this is C4, which is one octave, this is C5, which is one octave higher than middle C, and this one is C6, which is 2 octave higher than middle C, and this B here is in between C5 and C6. And since it's bar 2, I'll just write it as bar 2. Okay, next, let's take a look at this. Okay, so this is my middle C for autoclave. This is my middle C. So this is C4, this is C5. And this note here is in between C4 and C5. So option A is in between C4 and C5. Okay, next, option B, this is middle C. This is, so I call this C4. And this one is one octave lower than C4. This C is one octave lower than C4. And this first note here is in between C3 and C4. So option B is in between C3 and C4. Next, this is middle C. And this one is middle C for, this is middle C for tenor clef, and this is C3 for tenor clef, and this note here is in between C4 and C3, so this is option C here. So based on this, I know that B and C are on the same pitch. A is 1 octave higher than B and C, and bar 2 is 2 octaves higher than B and C, or just 1 octave higher than option A. So let's read it. Option A is correctly written 1 octave lower. So if you look at this, yes, correct. This is correct. Only B and C are correctly written 1 octave lower. No, B and C are written 2 octaves lower. A, B, and C are correctly written 1 octave lower. No, only A is written 1 octave lower. So therefore, this is the answer. A and B are correctly written an octave lower. This is also wrong. Okay, so this is the answer. Okay, next, it's a true and false question. The beginning of the music should be played lightly. So if you look at this one is leggero. Okay, so it is true because of leggero. That means you play lightly, so it's true. Next, the music ends on the subdominant chord of F sharp minor. Okay, so F sharp minor, okay, you have this key signature F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. Okay, so next, subdominant means fourth, right? Fourth chord. So the fourth chord is B, D, F. Okay, no, this is fifth. Oh yeah, it's B. Okay. So yes, it's B. So it's B, D, F sharp. Okay. Then subdominant, you have B. Oh, you don't even have B. So it is not true. So in other words, this is false. So the answer for this is false. It's not the subdominant chord. Okay, next. Okay. This one here, what did they ask? The largest melodic interval in the left-hand part of bar 7 is a major third. So let's look at this. This is a second apart, a second apart, a third, second, second, third, third. So we have quite a lot of third, right? Okay, so this is third. Third, A and F sharp, F sharp and D, D and B, right? Okay, so if we were to look at it, right, for this one here, I know that they are all a third apart. Okay, so we know that minor third is 3 semitones apart, right? Major third, 4 semitones, right? Augmented third will be 5 semitones, right? And then diminished third will be 2 semitones apart, right? So let's just look at this. So for this one, it's way easier to use the number of semitones, okay? So you have A and F sharp. So this is A, this is F sharp, right? 1 semitone, 2 semitone, 3 semitone. This is 3 semitones, so this one is minor third. Okay? Then next, let's take a look at this. This is F sharp and D. F sharp here and then D here. 1 semitone, 2 semitone, 3 semitone, 4 semitone. This is 4 semitones. So 4 semitones, this F sharp and D here. Why F sharp is because of the key signature. So all F should have the F sharp. So 4 semitones, so therefore it's a major third. Okay, so major third is a bigger interval than minor third. So now that we already have major third, we need to check whether this is true by checking the last one. If it's augmented third, then the largest interval is augmented third. Okay, not major third. Okay, so let's look at this B to D. So B to D, 1 semitone, 2 semitone, 3 semitone. So this is a minor third. Okay, so therefore the largest interval is a major third. It is true. So let's take a look at this question here. So we are asked whether the highest note in the music is a C sharp. So we have a C sharp here. Let's check whether is there a note higher than this one here. Why C sharp here? Because there's a sharp here. Okay, based on the key signature. So it's C sharp. Let's see anything higher than C sharp. No, not on the first line. In the second line, I find this note D. D is higher than C sharp. Okay, and because of this note here, this will be forced. Next, the music gets quieter in bar 7. No, it's getting louder because of this crescendo sign. So it's false. Next, select which instrument is best suited to play the right hand phrase in bar 3 and 4. Bar 3 and 4, it is going to be treble clef, right? So we first eliminate those that plays in bass clef. So bassoon, bass clef, trombone, double bass, no, oboe. So the only answer possible is oboe. Okay, next. Okay, how many times, select how many times the median note of F sharp minor appears in the left hand. So left hand, median note of F sharp minors. So median means third, right? So F, G, A. Then F sharp minor only have F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. So A is just A. So we need to count for the left hand how many times A appears. Okay, so let's look at this. F and C. Oh, I found an A. So once. This is my A. C, no A here. Another A here. A here. A here. A here, A here. Okay, no other A's. So total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Total 6 times. Okay, next, complete the two sentences by adding a number 1, 2, 3, etc. So bar 3 has the same rhythm and articulation. Articulation refers to maybe your staccatos and so on. So bar 3 has the same rhythm and articulation as, if you look at this, 4 semiquavers that are together with a slur, then 1 staccato, and then this 2 notes has a slur. This is bar 2, right? Okay, this one doesn't have the same articulation, although the right hand has the same rhythm, but the left hand totally different rhythm. So it is bar 2. So the answer for this one, bar 3, has the same rhythm as bar 2. Next, there's a diminuendo. Diminuendo, that means getting softer. They didn't have the dim anywhere, but here it's a diminuendo. That means it's gradually getting softer or quieter. So it's bar 5. Okay. Okay, so there you go. We have finished this paper here. If you like this video or you want to learn more about exam techniques for the grade 5 ABRSM Music Theory, do check out the link below.